Madam Secretary, I want to welcome, by the way, I want to ask you about the TRIO program that has been mentioned, and its sister program, Gear Up. We spend $1.858 billion a year on TRIO.
Yes.
That's $1,580 million a year. Is my math right?
I think that's right, sir.
And how long have we been spending $1,580 million a year on this program?
I'm not sure of the total length of time of the program.
More than 10 years?
Yes.
So that's over $1 trillion we've spent on this program. And in this program, this $1 trillion we've spent, we give this money, as I appreciate it, to colleges and universities to encourage poor kids to go to college. Is that right?
To provide some of those kids who have not yet been exposed to what it takes to get ready to go to college.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back. Today I'm diving into a moment that left Congress stunned. And honestly, it left me wondering what the heck is going on. Picture this, Senator John Kennedy sitting across from Education Secretary McMahon at a budget hearing, grilling her about TRIO and Gear Up. Programs meant to help low-income students get to college. Here's the jaw-dropper. We spend nearly $2 billion every year on these programs. Do that for over a decade, and you're talking about $1 trillion of taxpayer money. So, Kennedy asks the obvious, how many poor kids have actually gone to college and graduated because of all this spending?
Given that we've spent $1 trillion, how many poor kids who otherwise wouldn't have gone to college have gone to college and graduated?
A significant number, I would imagine.
How many?
I don't know exactly.
Isn't that a question we should ask?
I think so, and I'll be happy to get back to you with that answer. You know, the other thing about the...
But wait, Madam Secretary, I'm not fussing at you. Do we have that number?
I don't think so.
I'm looking, we don't have it.
I don't think so, because there is the...
Well, if we were... So we've spent $1 trillion, and we've given this money to universities, and they're supposed to encourage poor kids to go to college. But we don't know how many poor kids went to college who otherwise wouldn't have gone to college and graduated, right?
Correct.
Well, what do your audits show?
Well, that's the issue, and I mentioned it when I was...
Are you able to audit?
We're not. We're not able to audit, and there are constraints against the TRIO program for its accountability. The other issue with...
Well, but I'm sorry to cut you off, but I don't have much time. So we spent $1 trillion. We gave it to the colleges. We said encourage poor kids to go to college. We don't know how many kids went to college because you don't have the authority to audit. How do you know these universities are not just using the money to operate instead of encouraging poor kids to go to college?
I'm not sure.
You don't know how?
No.
Because you can't audit.
Correct.
And the answer he gets? I don't know. We'll get back to you. Seriously? $1 trillion in and nobody can say how many kids' lives were changed? That's not just frustrating, that's mind-blowing. Kennedy doesn't let up. He asks about audits. Can they even trace where this money went? Secretary McMahon admits they can't. There are constraints. No real audits. No real data. At this point, Kennedy says what we're all thinking. Hope is not a strategy. And he's right. Imagine telling any regular American that story. They'd think it was a joke.
You understand hope is not a strategy.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you told the average American, we just spent $1 trillion of your money, and we gave it to colleges and universities, and we said encourage poor kids to go to college, but we don't know how many kids went to college who otherwise wouldn't have gone and who graduated. You understand the average American would ask us what planet we just parachuted in from, right?
That's right. You know, Senator, if I may, there's one other issue on the TRIO program. What we have found
I'm going to run
is...
out of time. You can make it fast.
Take your time back then.
But wait, it gets even crazier. Kennedy brings up Harvard. After being accused of violating federal law, Harvard's defense is basically, we didn't do anything wrong.
Let me ask you a question about skirmish with Harvard, and I don't want to get into the merits. President Trump has said that Harvard is violating federal law and he's withholding their money. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Harvard has responded, we've never violated federal law, but if we did, we give you a pinky promise that we won't do it again. Is that right?
Yes.
So, let's bottom line it. We've spent $1 trillion, but we don't know if it worked. We can't even audit the programs. And the richest university in the country doesn't want oversight, but still wants your money. This isn't about left or right, this is about common sense. And right now, it feels like no one's steering the ship. If this made you think, hit subscribe and the bell. I break down stories that matter, with no fluff. Drop your thoughts below. Are these programs helping, or is it time for a serious audit? Stay sharp, and I'll catch you next time.